So I tell you what, into the 3rd District of Texas, Congressman Keith Self about to get the full House briefing on Venezuela. Glad to have him ahead of time. Congressman, welcome and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, Mark. Thanks for having me. Yes,
pleasure.
We're in the Trump Kennedy Center, ready to go.
So who does the briefing? What happens today?
Well, right now the speaker is welcoming. I'm missing that. I can hear it. The Trump will be here just as soon as they can get him here because he wanted to start this. So we expect it to be a lot about the economy, about 2026, less about Venezuela, because that will have to be a classified briefing, and Trump Kennedy Center is not the place to have a classified briefing. But back to your comment. Look, I held a security clearance above TSSCI when I was in the Pentagon, and you do not tell Congress anything if you want it to be successful.
When you take a look at something like this, how does the clock run? It was in the wee hours of Saturday morning. Let's take Trump out of it, take Venezuela out of it. How quickly should any president who has done something like this gather members of Congress to say, hey, we're doing this?
After the fact, and if he wants to build a relationship, as soon as he can after the fact, after everybody is out, after everything is completed. And that would be the case. But, you know, you've also got to understand exactly what went down before you go to Congress, because you don't want to tell Congress something that's wrong, because then they'll use it against you. So there is a balance there between getting all the facts before you talk to Congress.
So what's your understanding of how this went? Because just at, I was going to say the 30,000-foot level, which seems appropriate, more like the 100-foot level, because that's how close some of these aircraft were flying. This appears to be something with a precision that is stunning, even by lofty American standards.
Absolutely. It's stunning to me. Look, in 1979 and 80, I was put into isolation to perhaps go get the hostages in Iran. It was a European. We did some very rudimentary planning, but Mark, we had nothing compared to what they have today. The night vision goggles, the silenced weaponry, the intelligence, the growlers for the EW, electronic warfare. I mean, we had nothing compared to what they did. This was as precise an operation as I believe you will ever see. It was flawless in its impeccable execution. I mean, I can't give the military enough kudos on this. It is impossible. It was that precise.
3rd District Congressman Keith Self is here at the Trump Kennedy Center, going in for an event where House members will be briefed on a lot of things moving forward. So it is beyond doubt that this was an amazing military operation. It is beyond doubt that Maduro was a horrible, horrible guy, and it's good that he's gone. Where you get into some debates that you'll have is constitutionality and was this within the law? You'll get the notion of international law, whatever that even means. What have you heard about those debates? If a constituent calls you and says, I just don't know if presidents get to do this, what's your best answer?
This is very historic, very traditional in South America. Look, the U.S. Marines have patrolled many of the South American capitals down through the centuries. The Monroe Doctrine's been around almost as long as our country has been around. Teddy Roosevelt added to it that we would act militarily. So the Monroe Doctrine, as Trump is calling it, has a long history of the United States. I dismiss all of these grumblings. This is well within our U.S. history. And I am totally happy with it. Look, international law, the first rule of international relations is every sovereign nation does what's in its best interest. And that's what we did in Venezuela.
I'm trying to remember, you were one of our final conversations of 2025 as we sort of made the rounds of all of our congressional representatives. Did you and I ever talk about the video that Mark Kelly and some other members of Congress made that designed to spark insubordination by planting seeds of doubt about the chain of command? Did we ever talk about that?
Yes, we talked about it briefly, Mark.
And you were no more a fan of it than I was. So let me ask you, as a proud Army retiree, what your thought is as the Pentagon takes action against Mark Kelly, possibly in terms of rank, possibly in terms, I say possibly because there is an appeal process. He gets to lawyer up and argue about this. What about the sanction that has landed on Mark Kelly's head for being a part of that video?
Well, I think the Secretary of War has made a good decision that this is not something that you try him for. However, as a retiree. My DD-214, my retirement document says I too am under UCMJ. So his bringing him back for a letter to reduce his pension is totally acceptable. That is what we sign up for when you are a regular military officer, and your DD-214 is very clear about that. Now, the decision to do it, that's up to the Secretary of War, and I'll leave that to his discretion. But this is entirely within his purview, and it is listed specifically on your retirement document.
And it's not even the full scope of what he could do. You can be technically drawn into active service and then court-martialed.
Well, yes, absolutely. That's entirely within the purview of the Secretary of War.
So, again, from your military ethos and background, every single one of those folks, because everybody on that video had some level of military or intelligence experience, and it'll be often said, but it's technically true what they said, that you don't have to follow an unconstitutional order. I know, my dog knows that, but we also know, if you give it a moment of attention, that the reason they planted that seed in our service members is in order to create doubt, to sow doubt about the validity of the orders they were receiving.
Well, it's the chaos that they're sowing across society today. That's the Democrats' plan, is to throw uncertainty, chaos across our society to make it very difficult to have a stable life, because they believe they benefit from that. We want peace, prosperity across our society. They want chaos because they believe it benefits them.
So last thing, if indeed this is to be sort of a broad topic update on a number of things from Speaker Johnson and President Trump, and if the economy is one of them and who knows what else, what kind of pep rally might this be at the Trump Kennedy Center for all of you gathered? Is it just the Republicans, or is everybody invited?
It's just the Republicans, yes.
Gotcha. So what do you think the messaging is going to be today?
Well, the message will be that the one big beautiful bill kicks in now. Okay, most of the provisions. So we're going to start seeing some benefits, some green shoots that will culminate in the IRS returns that people are going to see, income tax returns. But we also have to do more things. We've got to get the housing economy moving. We've got to figure that out. So there are things to do, because I firmly believe that this midterm election will turn on the economy. So while we do see green shoots, gas is way down. There are green shoots. We know that the middle class has been hollowed out by the Biden presidency, going back to Obama. So we've got to start fixing that, and that takes a while. So I think the president is going to talk to us about how we do that, what his plan to do that is, so that our middle class will start feeling better before the midterms. I think that's vitally important.
I've heard this every once in a while, but if anybody's got an eyebrow wrinkled, I just absolutely love this. Green shoots, SHOOT, a green shoot. Howard Garrett would be proud. It's what you first get popping out of the ground when a plant comes to life. And a green shoot is the first sign of economic recovery after a downturn. Superb metaphor. I would expect no less. Congressman Keith Self, enjoy your day. And thanks for the update, the preview of the preview. Thanks a lot. And I look forward to many conversations in 26.